from Southwest Florida's news source. This is Fox 4 News at 6.
All new at 6, new questions coming to light after a deadly collision involving a Lee County deputy cruiser. 2 people dead. What didn't happen that may have prevented this tragedy? Plus,
if he didn't do what he did, what do you think would have happened?
I would have probably been the next murder in Callins in the city.
the Fort Myers boy who reportedly had a gun pointed at him on the school bus is talking to 4 in Your Corner tonight. What he has to say to the student who may have saved his life. A heads up for fishermen tonight, where there could be a new set of rules when it comes to one of Southwest Florida's most popular catches. But first, for the 3rd time in recent weeks, Southwest Florida authorities are investigating a fatal accident involving a first responder vehicle, the latest claiming the lives of 2 people yesterday morning. Highway Patrol officials saying that Lee County deputy, Roberto Torres, collided with a Cadillac while driving on Palm Beach Boulevard. Torres was responding to a call in his cruiser when he hit the driver's side door of the other car. The man and the woman inside that car were killed. According to reports, the lights on his cruiser were activated, but the siren was not on. So why wasn't that siren on? And what's the sheriff's office policy on this? 4 in Your Corner's Gabrielle Saran working to get those answers for you tonight. Gabrielle?
Patrick, witnesses say the cruiser was going fast and it seemed weird that his sirens weren't on. I took this concern to the sheriff's office. Now, detectives say once FHP's investigation is complete, they'll take it from there. And they say the deputy involved, Roberto Torres, has been released from the hospital and will return to work later this week. Gabrielle Saran, Fox 4, in Your Corner.
We want to know what you think about this and what happened with this fatal accident. Do you think the Lee County Sheriff's Office should change its rules when it comes to using lights and sirens? And do you want to know more from them at this point? Let us know what you think when you go to facebook.com/Fox4Now or call us at 239-206-FOX4. In the Storm Patrol Center now, you wanted some cooler weather this winter, better late than never.
Yes, indeed. And the warming trend actually developed for us this afternoon. We're going to start off by using the power of 4 super radars to show you just how clear skies are. No rain anywhere close to Southwest Florida. But you know what? Our forecast may actually have a little bit of rain farther down the road. Comfortably cool right now. I think that's a good way to sum it up. We're in the mid-60s in most spots, 66 in the Cape, 63 in the Bell. We have 67 in Bonita Springs. Going to be cool again tomorrow morning, but not quite as cool. The warming trend, well, it developed today, but it doesn't look like it's going to continue for a lot longer. Showers making a return to our forecast thanks to a cool front and changes that are going to affect the rest of your week and your weekend plans. I'll have that for you as well as your Storm Patrol weather pictures, all coming up just a couple of minutes.
All new at 6, a deadly fire at an RV park in Naples. Authorities telling us they were called to the Naples Motor Coach Resort early this morning. Firefighters say when they got on scene, they found a woman who had collapsed from apparent smoke inhalation. Despite the attempts to revive her, she was pronounced dead at the hospital. The state fire marshal's office is now investigating that fire. Dozens of outraged animal rights advocates rallying in Fort Myers tonight. They are furious about how a Fort Myers police officer handled his canine partner. The officer says he swatted the dog in the face more than once. 4 in Your Corner's Katie Jones live at City Hall, where they're demanding justice for this dog named Euro. Katie?
Here inside City Hall, a group of animal rights supporters are voicing their concerns to council members about the health and safety of canine officer Euro. Now, as you may remember, Fort Myers police officer George Sanford was reprimanded after fellow officers reported he had punched his assigned canine Euro during a training session last October. After an internal investigation was complete, Officer Sanford was allowed to keep his canine partner in his care. And since Fox 4 first brought you this story last month, we've been flooded with calls and comments from viewers. It's even been brought to the national spotlight. The animal rights group PETA has gotten involved, asking supporters on its website to stand up for Euro.
When people abuse an animal or hit an animal, where is that going to go? How's that going to escalate? And that's my fear. If he does it in front of his canine officers in training, what is he going to do? What does an officer do at home?
Now, supporters are here tonight to ask the city council members to go above Police Chief Doug Baker and reopen this investigation. They say they want Euro out of Officer Sanford's care. We'll let you know what happens tonight at 10. We're live in Fort Myers tonight. Katie Jones, Fox 4 in your corner.
An undercover sex sting at a Cape Coral public park has led to 5 arrests. Investigators say these 5 men were trying to engage in sexual acts with detectives on the boardwalk at the Glover Bite Trail in Rotary Park. The undercover sting coming after police say they got several complaints from people saying that they saw people engaged in lewd sexual acts in public at the park. All 5 people are facing misdemeanor battery charges, and they've been ordered to stay away from the park. A 4 in your corner crime tracker alert. Cape Coral police want you to take a very close look at this surveillance image. Officers say the man in the hat robbed the Publix on Del Prado Boulevard South in the Cape yesterday. He reportedly told a clerk he had a weapon, demanded cash, and ran off. If you can help identify him, you could get a cash reward when you call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-780-TIPS. A state investigation into the Lee County School District may have the superintendent, Joe Burke, on the hot seat. 4 in your corner's Matt Grant joins us live to explain what's behind this investigation.
Well, Patrick, the Lee County School Board will hold a special meeting tomorrow to address allegations of mismanagement brought to the attention of the Florida Department of Education. Now, Board Chair Mary Fisher received a letter from the DOE a week ago. The letter notes the Inspector General has received allegations against Superintendent Joseph Burke. The department cited 3 instances of alleged mismanagement, including spending more than $290,000 of grant money on top-level administrators rather than putting it into the classrooms. There are also allegations he moved millions of dollars in grant money without the board's approval.
What you're talking about is an audit that has already been done a year ago. We did an audit. The audit came back to find that Dr. Burke was in full authority of what he did.
Do you think Dr. Burke's job is in jeopardy?
Never.
The State Inspector General is requesting the Board of Education provide the school board provide a written response to their allegations within 30 days of receiving the letter. The school board will meet in that special session tomorrow at 2 o'clock. It's open to the public, and they will discuss the letter. Then, of course, stay tuned for complete coverage on Fox 4. For now, we're live in the studio. Matt Grant, Fox 4. In your corner.
Meanwhile, this investigation comes as we're learning Dr. Burke's predecessor is planning to leave his current position up north. According to an Alaska newspaper, former Lee County Superintendent Dr. Jim Browder is resigning from his current post as superintendent in Anchorage, Alaska. The newspaper says Dr. Browder is leaving to deal with some family medical issues. All new tonight, we're learning a preliminary trial date has now been set for that drug case against former Lee County Commissioner Brian Bigelow. The former commissioner is pleading not guilty to cocaine possession charges stemming from an arrest in January. Bigelow has been in a drug rehab treatment center ever since he reportedly failed a court-ordered drug test last month. His trial date is scheduled for April. Casey Anthony is making her first public appearance since her 2011 acquittal for the death of her daughter. Casey Anthony coming out of seclusion for a meeting regarding her bankruptcy case in Tampa. Anthony filed for bankruptcy in late January, claiming nearly $800,000 in liabilities. Court papers list Anthony as unemployed with no recent income. A battle is shaping up between the city of Cape Coral and the Lee County Electric Cooperative, better known as LCEC, and there's more than $2 million at stake here. City leaders deciding tonight whether to move forward with a lawsuit against LCEC, the city attorney claiming they are owed about $2.5 million from the electric co-op for money spent on utility relocation costs for several city road expansion projects. A similar lawsuit was filed by the city against LCEC in 2005, and the city won that case. Your elected state leaders starting their legislative session tomorrow in Tallahassee. Lawmakers will be deciding Florida's new budget. Governor Scott wants it to include a $2,500 pay raise for all teachers. Lawmakers also considering proposed laws on everything from legalizing medical marijuana to banning texting and driving. A Florida House committee says our state should not expand Medicaid coverage under the federal health law. Governor Scott recently proposing expanding Medicaid for 3 years to about 1 million more Floridians as long as the federal government foots the entire bill. Committee members now expressing concern about the quality of patient care if that expansion happens. Any Medicaid expansion would have to be approved by the state legislature. The Fort Myers teenager who had a gun pointed at him on a school bus is talking to 4 in your corner.
You think he would have killed you?
Yeah.
What he has to say about the fellow classmate who may have saved his life. Jeb Bush for president, what the former Florida governor is saying about a run for the White House tonight. If you like to fish, get ready to dish. Why the rules could be changing for one of the most popular catches in Southwest Florida. Next.
Very chilly start this morning and a little bit foggy. Ron Johnson in Lehigh Acres sending this picture into Storm Patrol at fox4now.com. Our wind chill factors this morning were close to 40. That's what it felt like. Of course, this weekend, spring forward. We're only going to tell you that another 179 times in the next 5 days. Patrick, over to you.
An update on a developing story we're following for you out of the Tampa Bay area. The site of that massive sinkhole that swallowed a man is now being cleared. Crews spending the whole day knocking down the remaining walls of that home where that sinkhole swallowed that 37-year-old man. The hole actually opened up under his bedroom. He still hasn't been found. The guy's brother says he's still coping with the fact that he couldn't do more to save him.
My 2-year-old daughter keeps asking, where's Jeff? Let's go get Jeff. Let's dig Jeff out of the hole. Mommy, Daddy, let's go home. I have no home to go to.
Now, once engineers can see inside that sinkhole more clearly, they can begin planning on how to deal with it. Crews will also have to decide what's going to happen to the two homes on either side of that now demolished house. Many of you have been asking just how common are sinkholes in our part of Florida here. We know there are a lot in the Tampa Bay and Central Florida area. Coming up at 6:30, Storm Patrol meteorologist Michelle Cunningham has the answers for you, and you can talk to her right now on Facebook in the meantime. More tragedy in this heartbreaking story out of New York. A baby that was delivered after his parents were killed in this Brooklyn hit-and-run accident has died. The baby boy's parents died after a car slammed into the cab they were riding in. Doctors were able to save that unborn baby initially, but doctors say the baby died this morning from sustained brain damage and other internal injuries. Police are still looking for the driver of the car that slammed into that cab. Britain's Queen Elizabeth is out of the hospital tonight. The Queen was all smiles today as she left that medical facility in London. The 86-year-old was admitted yesterday as, quote, a precautionary measure to be treated for symptoms of stomach and intestinal inflammation. The Queen canceled all her weekend plans because of the illness, and this week's engagements will either be postponed or canceled because of it. The process of selecting a new pope could begin within a matter of days. The pre-conclave meetings are underway at the Vatican. 103 of the 115 cardinals who will pick the new pope have already arrived. A date for the process to start won't be set until every single one of them is there. The cardinals lock themselves inside the Sistine Chapel at that point. They don't come out until they've elected a new pope to replace Benedict XVI, who resigned last week. The Vatican is hoping to have a new pope in place for the Easter holiday. Jeb Bush for president. We're talking about it with you on Facebook right now. The former Florida governor says he is not ruling out a run for president in 2016. He made those comments earlier today on NBC's The Today Show. The Republican stopping short of officially declaring that he would run for president, only saying he wanted to share his beliefs and that he believes the Republican Party has lost its way. Bush is attending two events over the next 2 weeks that are considered early cattle calls for Republican White House hopefuls. And we're chatting with you right now about this on Facebook. Do you think Jeb Bush should run for president in 2016? You can log on to facebook.com/Fox4Now and join our live conversation. You post, and I'll respond to your post in real time. And we'll be sharing some of what you tell me coming up at 6:30. Still to come, an incredible story you have to see. How doctors say they cured a child with HIV. A treehouse for adults. It's nice. We're taking you inside this luxury hideaway next. A lot of us remember being in those tree houses when we were kids, and now one guy has created a secret tree house that he's now sharing with you. He started building this thing in 2008 near the Canadian ski resort of Whistler. The egg-shaped home is built around this hemlock tree, and its entire weight is supported by the trunk. And what makes it unique is that it's constructed of donated and reused building materials.
I think, you know, as a designer and builder in the industry, we have a moral obligation to push that because the impact that construction has as a whole in the environment is significant.
It's awful pretty looking inside. You know it had to have wood floors. It's a tree, for heaven's sakes. This is not the kind of tree house you had as a child in this sense, though. This one will cost you $2 million if you want to own it. A heads up, if you use that popular computer software called Evernote, your personal information may be in the hands of hackers tonight. Evernote is requiring all 50 million of its users to reset their passwords after hackers managed to breach its computer network. The web-based note-sharing service says hackers were able to access usernames, email addresses, and encrypted passwords. Evernote is just the latest tech company in recent weeks to fall victim to hackers. The list of victims includes Apple, Facebook, and Twitter. Still ahead, it's a letter that says you owe big bucks, and it could be in your mailbox as early as tomorrow. Find out why it's not what it's all cracked up to be, though. Plus,
You think he would have killed you?
Yeah.
the Fort Myers teenager who says he had a loaded gun pulled on him on the school bus is now talking to Four in Your Corner. Why he says the student that may have saved him is getting a raw deal from the school district. Next.
Live from Southwest Florida's news source, this is Fox 4 News at 6.
A Cypress Lake High School student who had a gun pointed at him last week says he would be dead if not for the quick action of another student. The victim speaking out tonight after the school suspended the student who wrestled a loaded .22 caliber revolver out of the hands of a gun-wielding teen. Four in Your Corner's Matt Grant has continuing coverage of a story that's got a lot of you talking.
Well, Patrick, a Lee County School Board member is calling the teen we spoke with last week a hero for disarming a teen threatening to shoot. Tonight, we're digging deeper into what happened, why the student was punished, and what the victim has to say about it. You think he would have killed you?
Yeah.
The victim, who we've agreed not to identify, is still shaken after investigators and the teen say a gun-wielding student aimed a loaded revolver at him last week and threatened to shoot.
He's finna shoot and kill me.
That's what he said?
Yeah.
According to the arrest report, several other students helped disarm the suspect.
He was gonna shoot him point blank.
This is the voice of a 16-year-old who helped wrestle away the gun. We're distorting his voice because he fears for his safety.
He raised the gun again. That's when I jumped in the sheet and we started fighting for the gun, and I got it from him.
And if you didn't tackle him, what do you think would have happened?
More of us would have been dead, not just one.
The next day, the principal suspended the teen many are calling a hero. According to the referral, it was because he was part of an incident where a weapon was present.
That's crazy when I found that out.
News of the suspension stunned the victim, who says the teen saved his life. If he didn't do what he did, what do you think would have happened?
I would have probably been the next murder in Callins in the city.
A district source says the teen was suspended with two other students, the gunman and an accomplice. Others who helped tackle the suspect, we're told, were not suspended because they cooperated with the investigation.
Were those students suspended?
Last week, we tried getting answers from the school's principal, but she drove off, later telling me in an email, "I am not talking to you." But she is responding to many of you who flooded her with angry emails saying, quote, "There are other circumstances involved in this situation, and no students were suspended or punished for helping disarm another student of a firearm." So why then was he suspended? The principal sent the teen's family a new referral over the weekend, this time saying it was because he was uncooperative and lied repeatedly to law enforcement. The teen says he was interrogated for 4 hours. He admits withholding information from authorities, but says it was only because he feared for his life.
You don't talk around here.
Because then what, you get a bad reputation?
That or you get killed.
My son did a very courageous thing on that bus. Without him and some of the other students, it would have been some fatalities.
Mr. Armstrong. I caught up with school board member Don Armstrong, who's conflicted about this case. Do you stand by the decision to suspend this student?
I stand behind if a student lies, there's got to be consequences.
That consequence was a 3-day suspension that Armstrong admits might have been excessive.
I know that he's saved a student's life, and he's a hero, period. That suspension needs to be expunged off his record.
Well, the teen who many are calling a hero returned to school today. The district says they can't comment on discipline matters because of student privacy. The 15-year-old gunman was charged with possession of a firearm on school property and assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. Live in the studio, Matt Grant, Fox 4 in your corner.
We have been getting an earful from you about this story, telling us if you think the school did the right thing or not. 4 in your corner's Miriam Zamorano is sharing your views.
A lot of you responding saying a suspension is not fair. Pierce Gale, an out-of-town high school teacher, calling in.
The school district treated him incredibly unfairly. He was missing out on his education when he was heroic, and I think they should be reprimanded.
Another caller saying she's disappointed in the way the school responded.
It's just a shame that the good ones have to suffer for the bad.
And Betty sounding off.
Where is their logic? Where is their common sense when you're punishing the hero?
Paul from Port Charlotte saying the school had to do what it did.
The school system has every right to suspend it just in case they need to get the documentation and make sure that they get everything and sort out everything, and that's the only reason why. So I think, yeah, they did the right thing.
Barbara adding to that, posting on our Facebook page, they have to do that until all are questioned for the protection of all. Miriam Zamorano, Fox 4 in your corner.
In the Storm Patrol Center now on this crisp evening in Southwest Florida.
Very good. Crisp, a good way to sum it up. It was downright cold this morning. We're using the power of 4 super radars to show you just how quiet the weather is in not only Southwest Florida, but pretty much the entire state. Had that good sunshine return for us today, and it brought our temperatures into the 70s in some spots. Now we're in the 60s, 62 in Port Charlotte, 63 our current temperature in the Cape. We're at 63 in Moorhaven with a 62 right now on Marco. Hope you're enjoying the warming trend, because it doesn't look like it's going to last forever. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a very short-lived warming trend thanks to a cool front that we have in the forecast. Showers making a comeback for us, and we also have some weekend changes to talk about. We'll have it all for you coming up here in just a couple of minutes on Fox 4. Storm Patrol meteorologist Michelle Cunningham joined me now. And there's been a lot of talk this past week about sinkholes and the tragic situation going on in the Tampa area. We've been getting a lot of questions and comments about this on Facebook.
We have, and of course sinkholes are very common, not so much here in Southwest Florida, but in other areas of Florida, in the Orlando, Tampa area, and it's because our soil is rich in easily dissolved rocks such as limestone and salt beds. Now this is video, they're demolishing that home that was trapped in that sinkhole. This is up in Tampa over the last couple days, and a man was swallowed while he was in his bed. So you might be wondering how sinkholes work. Well, groundwater flows through rocks and eats away from them, and of course it's limestone, very porous, so it's going to leave holes and caverns in our limestone, and this is our aquifer. So gradually what's going to happen is that the dirt gives way underneath, and sometimes it's very gradual, but sometimes, like we saw up north, it's very quick and we get a large sinkhole. Now vibrations from construction and also from well drilling cause some major problems. Those vibrations, along with once you drill for a well, you take that water out of the ground and you leave a cavern or a hole. So we unfortunately do contribute to sinkholes, and we put a link on our Facebook page to show you where there are some sinkholes that are located in Collier, Charlotte, Lee County. A lot of information on there, and a lot of you have been talking. Sean says he used to do well drilling, and he said it was a scary feeling when you're drilling and all of a sudden the ground starts to sink. We had another comment from a Facebooker that said that her neighbor had a sinkhole 10 to 15 feet away from her home. So I just want to remind you that we're answering your questions, why sinkholes form, where they're located, so you can talk to us live on Facebook.com/Fox4Now.
A plan to change the rules for bass fishing could have a big impact on Southwest Florida. 4 in your corner's Julie Salomon asking local anglers what they think about the idea.
Reporting in the Everglades, Julie Salomon, Fox 4 in your corner.
What do you think about these proposed rule changes for bass fishing? You can call us with your opinion at 239-206-FOX4 or post right now on Facebook.com/Fox4Now. A father and son in Charlotte County facing charges tonight after deputies say they stalked and harassed their elderly neighbor for months. According to deputies, the pair did everything from yelling profanity at their 64-year-old neighbor to putting a piece of hose with nails in his driveway to puncture the guy's car tires. Deputies say the incidents date back to last October and that the neighbor kept a log of each one of them. The father and son are now out of jail on bond. An incredible story giving hope in the fight against AIDS tonight. A toddler in Mississippi is the first child to be, quote, functionally cured of HIV. Andrew Spencer explains what that means and the impact this medical breakthrough is having on pediatric AIDS research. Now, there is no guarantee that the child will stay healthy, but she has been off her HIV medication for about a year and still has no signs of the infection. This is the second documented case of a person whose HIV has essentially been cured. The other one was an adult man who received a bone marrow transplant from a donor whose blood seemed to be especially resistant to HIV. Should Jeb Bush run for president? It's a question that's got you talking on Facebook right now, and I'm responding to you. The former Florida governor saying earlier today he is not ruling out a run for the White House. And we've been asking you on Facebook, do you think the Republicans should run to be your president? And here's what some of you have been saying so far. Faith says no. I've had enough of the Bushes and the Clintons. I want Ben Carson. Anita says, I don't think he would be the best choice, but better than who we have now. And Diane says, I say yes, he was a very good governor. He would be a great president. Sherry says, I have no problem with Jeb. I liked him as our governor, but I think Rubio should be the guy. And you can join our conversation right now on Facebook. I'm responding to your post, facebook.com/Fox4Now. A catch for the ages, the stunning size of this shark caught off the coast of Florida. But first, deception in your mailbox. The questionable letter that folks around Southwest Florida are getting that could cost you big. Next.
Cool evening everywhere in the state of Florida. Might be surprised when you look at this map to learn that we have a cool front in the forecast. I'll tell you when it gets here and how it changes our weather coming up.
I suspect that every business in Lee County has gotten this letter at some point.
Bogus bills and letters sent to Southwest Florida business owners. 4 in Your Corner's Colleen Hogan is showing you how to spot this phony to save yourself some money and headaches.
The letter looks legit. It's from a company called Compliance Services out of Tallahassee. It says it's an annual minutes requirement statement and asks you to send back a $125 check.
I'm sure there are a lot of other people that look at it, looks very official.
But don't be fooled, says Cape Coral attorney Eric Feichthaler. He's been getting this letter in the mail for years.
It's very official. Looks like it comes from a government office in Tallahassee. In reality, it's just a business that's trying to get you to send $125.
He says it's money you just don't need to send. While the state does require business owners to do certain things, paying $125 to this unaffiliated company isn't one of them.
So even on the state's own website here, the Division of Corporations, they have a consumer alert warning people that you don't need to send in any sort of money to this company.
It does appear to be, at the very least, extremely deceptive to the people of Florida.
Business owners get a bunch of mail, they get a bunch of bills, and this might slip through the cracks.
Right, especially things from the IRS or from the Division of Corporations that create an initial shock. People are very concerned and they want to resolve it as soon as possible.
So be on the lookout. He got the letter in the mail Saturday and expects that more business owners will get them this week.
Not only does it provide no value to you, but it provides possible personal information about you or your business to a company called Compliance Services who could do nearly anything with it.
In Cape Coral, Colleen Hogan, Fox 4 in your corner.
If you got that letter in the mail and you sent the company money, you definitely need to call the State Attorney General's fraud hotline right away and file a complaint. And that toll-free number is 1-866-966-7226. A different breed of angry birds is causing problems for people at a California park. Geese are going crazy. Is this for real? Yes, this is for real. This pair of geese is getting territorial and attacking some people who get near them. People say the geese are being very aggressive because they're being harassed by other animals in the park. One woman who frequently visits the park is planning to get a kiddie pool for the geese so they won't go into the pond anymore. A great white shark has been tagged and released off the coast of Florida. This is off Jacksonville. Researchers reeling in this 2,000-pound great white. They named it Lydia. Such a gentle name, isn't it? They say she's going to help researchers understand sharks' migration patterns. She's now tagged with a GPS device that allows researchers to follow her, and you can do it too. Find out how right now when you click on the big red 4 on Fox 4 Now. History on the waters of Southwest Florida as 2 ships you've probably heard of are gracing the shores of beautiful Naples. Replicas of the Nina and Pinta are now docked at Tin City on 5th Avenue South. The Nina was built by hand and without the use of power tools and is considered to be the most historically correct Columbus replica ever built. The Pinta was recently built in Brazil. Both are offering you a blast from the past.
I sailed with Christopher Columbus in 1493, and even though as my fame was still to come, Don Juan Ponce de Leon came here and discovered the land of La Pascua, Florida in 1513.
We came over here for lunch and we found out the ships were coming in, so we thought we would stay and see them come in.
Perfect timing. The ships will be open for your viewing starting tomorrow. And for ticket information, just go to Fox 4 Now and click on the big red 4.
And of course, Patrick, you remember the third ship. There's the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Very good. Very nice weekend on tap. Start making your plans now. That's your Storm Patrol forecast.
Are you still thinking about trying yoga for your health? Why, these folks might be just what it takes for you to say yes to the idea. Next. You've heard it before, yoga can be good for your physical and mental health, and some dedicated practitioners are putting that proof on display in New York, the 10th annual National Yoga Asana Championship. More than 150 yogis from 33 states taking part, including from Florida, and they say it's like artists putting their creations on display.
I think it's almost like if you were at a gallery and you had your stuff displayed, and then the judges picked one that they liked.
Find out where you can take a local yoga class. You don't have to bend like this when you click on the big red 4 on Fox 4 Now. And we'll be right back right after this.
Not as cool as it was yesterday evening, but still a cool one. 48 to start your day tomorrow, then warmer in the afternoon, but a cool front on Wednesday brings a few morning showers.
All right, and our next weather update live right here on Fox 4 coming up in 7 minutes. We'll see you at 10.